Good morning, friends. Today I am here with Diversity in Living Organism, Part 1 of ninth Standard. In today's session, we are going to discuss why do we classify organisms, range of variation in life forms, basis of classification, classification and evolution, five kingdom classification, scheme used for classification, Monera, Protista and fungi. So let us start the session. First, it is about why do we classify organism. For this, I would like to ask one question. Have you visited grocery shop? You might have seen that shopkeeper used to keep his all articles not one place. He sorted them and used to place at different places. Why? So that he find it easily. He know about each and every article easily. So like that, there are variety of organisms around us. And it is very difficult to know about each. So therefore, we have to make them into different groups, different classes, and these different groups and different classes are made on the basis of some similarities and dissimilarities. This classification will help to study them easily and also in a systematic manner. Now the next topic is range of variation in life forms. There are different range of variation in life forms. Some organisms are very small and they cannot be seen by our naked eye, but it requires some microscope to see them. So they are called as microscopic. But other organisms are very big, as big as blue whale. In case of plant, some are single-celled and other are multicellular and are tall like redwood tree. They are 100-meter tall. So some are very small and single cell, whereas other is very large having 100-meter tall. As far as the lifespan is concerned, some lives for 100 years and some die within a few days. So this is also one of the range of variations. Some live on land and some live in water. Means some are terrestrial but some are aquatic. They require water for complete their life cycle. So they are present in water. Next topic is basis of classification. Means on what basis the different organisms are sorted. First is prokaryotic and eukaryotic. Means some organisms are very primitive, having not two nucleus. The nucleus is not bounded by nuclear membrane, whereas some organisms are eukaryotic cell. Means they are having two nucleus. The nucleus is surrounded by nuclear membrane and other membrane bound organelles are also present in eukaryotic cells. So on this basis also the organism has been classified. Second is whether the cells are single or multicellular. Means the organisms are single or the organisms are multicellular. So single organisms are simple whereas multicellular organisms are complex. Now the next basis is whether the cells have cell wall or not. As you know that animal don't have cell wall whereas plant have cell wall. Whether they prepare their food or not. Means plants are autotroph whereas animals are heterotroph. Autotroph means they prepare their own food whereas heterotroph means they have to depend on other for foods. Now next topic is classification and evolution. Whatever the organisms we are seeing, present day complex living organisms, they have evolved either from simple form due to the changes in their body design over millions of years. They are not as same, and the body design of living organisms gradually changing, and this gradual changes is called evolution, and these gradual changes are due to the changes in the environment and the needs to adapt themselves to change occurring in the environment. So they changes in due course of time. Some group of organisms having ancient body designs have not changed much during course of evolution and still have simple forms and structure. So these organisms are called primitive or lower organisms. Means they have their body design very simple. And some organisms have acquired their body design relatively recently and have complex form and structure. So those organisms which have complex form and structure are called as advanced or higher organism. So there are two forms of organism further, lower organisms and higher organisms. Now let us see what are the 5 kingdom classification. Biologist Ernest Haeckel in the year 1894, Robert Whittaker 1959 and Carl Busch 1977. These three scientists classify all the living organisms into 5 broad categories and they are called as kingdoms. And the classification Whittaker proposed has 5 kingdoms. What are they? Monera, Protista, Fungi, Plantae and Animalia. So we will going to discuss here one by one. Here this is the outline classification of organisms. Broadly, the organisms are classified into 2 types, that is prokaryote and eukaryote. Prokaryote includes all Monera, primitive form, simple body organization. And eukaryotes is further divided into unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular includes Protista and multicellular is again divided into with cell wall and without cell wall. With cell wall include fungi and Plantae and without cell wall includes Animalia. Without that cell wall, fungi do not perform photosynthesis, means they are heterotrophs, and Plantae are able to perform photosynthesis, means they are autotroph. They can prepare their own food. Now let us see what are the scheme used for classification. The following scheme is used to write the classification by writing the subgroups: kingdom, phylum for animals, division for plants, then class, then order, then family, then genus, then species. So species includes all organisms that are similar enough to breed and perpetuate. Means the breeding takes place between similar species. Reproduction is taking place between similar species. And it is the smallest unit of classification. So what is the smallest unit of classification? Species is the smallest unit of classification. Here you can see some examples of all the 5 kingdoms: Protista, Monera, fungi, plant and animal. Now we will discuss about Monera. As we have discussed earlier that organisms belonging to Monera, they don't have definite nucleus or membrane bound organelles in the cell. So that is why this type of organisms, they are having prokaryotic cell and they are unicellular. They do not show multicellular body. As far as nutrition is concerned, either they are autotrophic or heterotrophic. Means some organisms they can prepare their own food, but other depend on the other organisms for food. Some of them have cell wall and some do not. Means some are autotrophs. So autotroph they are having cell wall, and they do not on cell wall, means they are heterotroph. Main examples are bacteria, blue-green alga, that is also called as cyanobacteria, and mycoplasma. Here this is a common prokaryotic cell. You can see that here there is no nucleus, but it is nucleoid. The genetic material is scattered within the cell. These are the different types of bacteria. Here it is the cyanobacteria, Avena. Here it is the mycoplasma. Now the next is Protista. These organisms are also unicellular, but they are eukaryotic, means membrane bound organelles are present and the nucleus is also surrounded by nuclear membrane. In Protista, hair-like cilia or whip-like flagella are present for locomotion in some organisms. Cilia are smaller in structure, and whereas flagella are longer. So that is why it is whip-like. Primarily they are aquatic, means all the organisms belonging to Protista are present in water. Nutrition again is here autotrophic or heterotrophic, and the common examples are algae, diatoms, protozoan. In protozoan it is amoeba, paramecium, euglena, etc. Here you can see the different Protista. Didinium, paramecium, Steiner, Diphylgia, Trypanosoma, Carcium, Euglena, amoeba, etc. This is the detailed structure of paramecium. You can observe the presence of cilia around the whole body surface, and it is unicellular. It is about structure of Euglena. You may see the whip-like flagellum. This is the structure of amoeba. Here it is the unicellular algae. Now this is about diatom. Now the next topic is fungi. Fungi are eukaryotic, but they are heterotrophic, means they do not prepare their own food. They may be saprophytic or parasitic. Saprophytic means they derive their nutrition from dead and decay parts of the organisms. And parasitic means they derive their nutrition from the living host. So they are either ectoparasite or endoparasite. Many of them have capacity to become multicellular organisms at certain stages of life. Presence of cell wall, and this cell wall is made up of tough complex sugar substance that is called as chitin. And some fungi live symbiotically, means mutually. The example is lichen. These fungi live in association with algae, and both algae and fungi are mutually benefited from each other. Algae provide that food, and fungi provide shelter and also helps in absorption. So this is the association. Lichen is the association of algae and fungi. They are non-green plants, so that is why it is heterotroph. They may be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular forms are called as yeast, whereas multicellular forms are called as mold. The common examples are Penicillium, Agaricus, Aspergillus, etc. Here it is the figure of yeast. It is Aspergillus, Penicillium and Agaricus. Here there are also few examples of fungi, Rhizopus, Neurospora, Agaricus, Fusarium. Now, thank you children. For any kind of doubts, please write your question in comment section.